Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Two Dum Yinzers. As you notice, now you can see us. Look, there's
Yes.
Mike. Here I am at Two Dum Yinzers headquarters, and Mike is somewhere in bumfuck Ohio, but nonetheless, he is here with us. We are doing our first video Zoom show today. So you're going to want to keep staying tuned, checking everything out. Now, the one thing I know is everybody, when they tune into us, Mike, they're looking to see, models or midgets or somebody painting boobs. But
Yes.
today's a special show because it is a big one. Obviously, for the reasons that we're doing this for the very first time. But today we are going to talk about the NFL draft.
Yes. My favorite time of the year.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I can't get enough.
No, it's a little bit of it's on the other end of the year, the other end of the spectrum from the football season. So it gives us a chance to have a little bit of football now. You know what? I love it. I love it too.
Except for I loved it except for that first round pick and the 2 7th round picks. Everything else pretty good.
Okay. I mean, we'll get to that here in a minute.
I got my vitriol saved up.
This is episode 54. Ryan, he's Mike. We are the Two Dum Yinzers. And again, this is our first video show. And moving forward, we're going to be doing more videos. We're going to be doing live coming up next week.
Yep.
So
Yes.
you're going to want to stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. We're moving forward. You're coming with us. Mike, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. We're talking about the NFL draft. How can I not be excited?
Absolutely. 3 days of nothing but football and guys getting their first jobs and getting paid a lot of money.
Oh, they were getting paid under the table before the NIL deals came in. So
right.
$100 handshakes.
Hey, yeah, I no doubt about it. I mean, it goes on, but you know what? Like I always say, I'm a fan, and whatever they decide to do with their money, that's on them. I tune in to watch football, and you know what? It works for me.
Yeah. NFL draft.
Before we start, listen, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of some of the new things that we are rolling out, some of the things that we are doing moving forward, basically what you were explaining to the people last week. Kind of give them a little rundown so they could be fresh on their minds.
So we have the new website, twodumyinzers.com, as in the number 2. I remembered this week, number 2, not letter 2. twodumyinzers.com. We also have our merchandise store, which is, give me 1 second here. I will pull it up so I can read off the site correctly. It is twodumyinzers.myspreadshop.com. So you can be 2-dum-yinzers.myspreadshop.com. There's also a link on our website for you to check that out. What else? Oh yeah, like Ryan said, we have our nice little video set up here through Zoom. Thank you very much there. We'll be doing lives. We'll start with Facebook Live, then eventually we'll introduce in YouTube Live, because all of our videos now will be going up on YouTube as well. Once we're done, you can still catch our episodes on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify. Brain fart there. So that's about it. A lot of fun stuff going on.
We're going to be moving to 5 days.
5 days.
5 days is something new we're going to be doing. Also, we're going to be making a little adjustment at the end of the week, because we've been having the Dumb Jukebox show on Friday night. Mm-hmm. Now that we're moving to 5 days a week live shows, we're going to move the Jukebox show back to Saturday night. We're going to have a Saturday night show, and that is going to be where all the music and all the stuff that musicians bring to us and send to us, and the stuff that we play will be on Saturday nights moving forward. So keep that in mind if you tune in for the music show Saturday nights. Also, Mike brought up the store. Now, the merchandise store, it's unbelievable. If you get a chance, go check it out. I tell you what, Mike, I'm going to be spending some money there, because I see probably 10 things that I want to get right off the top. And the more you go down the list, the more stuff you see that you want to get, So I'm chomping at the bit to get on there and start ordering, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, the one design has 149 products. The other just 18, just because of the way the graphic works, and
Yes.
the other one has 140. So there's good selection there for the whole family.
Absolutely. There really is something for everybody, like Mike mentioned in an earlier episode. There's something for the kids. There's something for the dog. Everybody. There's something for everybody. Check it out. First, go to the website www.2dumyinzers, that's with a 2.com, and you can always navigate from there and find the store. And Mike, what is the website to go directly to the store?
It is 2-Yinzers.myspreadshop.com.
Great job. Now, everybody, like we had said earlier, and Mike, I know he's chomping at the bit over here. He wants to talk football. He wants to talk draft. So I'm gonna pass the mic off to Mike, and he's gonna go ahead and kind of get us started with his thoughts on the draft.
All right, so we got our first pick, number 20, Kenny Pickett. Why would you take a quarterback who has had one good year in the first round after you spent money on a quarterback that you were trying to say, hey, this is the heir apparent to Ben. We're going to sign this guy to a 2-year deal. He's going to be our starter, but yet we're going to draft this quarterback who, here, I'm looking at his stats right now. Kenny Pickett, freshman year, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I'm sorry. Okay, freshman. Sophomore, first start year as a starter. Completed 58% of his passes for 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Junior year, we have 61% completion rate, 13 touchdowns, 9 picks. His first senior year, because apparently he's a doctor or some shit, he's going to college that long, 61% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 9 picks. And this is the guy everyone at Pitt hated. Like, this team needs a better quarterback than last year when they played no one. They get Clemson on a down year. He has 42 touchdowns, 7 picks for 67% completion percentage. So this is telling me right here, these first 3 years where he's a true starter, that's the real Kenny Pickett. This one right here is an outlier. That's who we're getting. We're getting Kirk Cousins 2.0. If we're lucky. If we're lucky. Is he going to be like Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows, Lamar Jackson, or is he going to be the next Ryan Leaf, Cade McNown, Achilles Smith, Rex Grossman, Cade McNown, who already said, Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel, Jimmy Clausen. I think he's in that range. It's a terrible pick. Set the team back 5 years. Johnny 12 yards, everyone. Johnny 12 yards, or Kenny 12 yards is our new quarterback. Kenny 12 yards.
The other day when we were working on the show, we had a guest in, and we were doing a little bit of work here in the studio, and Mike was calling him Johnny Small Hands, or Kenny Small Hands.
Kenny Small Hands. Kenny, I'm the only adult in America who has hands smaller than Donald Trump. He's our quarterback. I hope he does that fake slide against Baltimore and they take his head off. He's the only Steeler that I will root against. Yeah, that's Kenny Pickett in the pocket, pooping his pants. Yep, that's Kenny Pickett pooping his pants.
What about
I hope he does well, because I want the team to do well. But it's probably the Penn State fan in me coming out, because fuck Kenny Pickett.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's fuck Pitt with Cam Hayward. It's fuck Pitt with
Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward,
Ohio State. He was a Western Pennsylvania guy, and his dad was a Pitt guy.
No, Cam Hayward's that guy that will. The team needs to play better. We need to all play better. And then, dude, you're going out there, you're getting blocked downfield on one against the Bengals and the Lions. You ain't won shit in this league, and you talk like you have won shit. He is so overrated. He crumbles in the big game.
That's what 31 teams do, though. 31 teams, talk shit, and they don't get it done.
He's never gotten it done. And they act like, he's this great Steeler. When I think great Steelers, I think people who have won Super Bowls.
But
he's a very good Steeler.
you got to have a good all-around team. I mean,
He crumbled it.
If receivers weren't dropping all these passes for the final 10 games 2 seasons ago, it might have been different. This team may have had a different.
Well, the last he finally made a play in a playoff game this year. I remember when we played Jacksonville and we got upset too. When we got upset against Jacksonville a few years ago when our offense was stacked. There's him and there's Stefan to it getting blocked 20 yards downfield. And everyone goes, man, why couldn't Ben win that game? They only put up 40 points.
Right. It takes 52 guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we can point fingers.
I'm just not a fan of Cam Hayward. He makes some great plays, but there's a lot of times on teams that he should be beating. He's on his blocks and shit. He's getting destroyed downfield. And the minute you bring it up, this is probably why I get so heated. Fans of the team attack you for pointing out his poor performance. But anyone else on the team, anyone not named TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, you can criticize. But those two who have never won anything, you can't criticize. They are like the Andrew McCutchen of the Steelers. Kutch never won anything in Pittsburgh. Never won anything, but you would criticize him, and he was like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. But yet you can criticize people like Ben, Crosby, Letang, Malkin. This show has gone off the rails, and we're like 10 minutes in. And this is like coffee.
These guys, they're fun-loving guys. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. People don't want to give these people slack because, Cam Hayward does so much for the community.
I don't care about that. I don't care. I care about the Super Bowl.
But I think that's what people's defense is whenever they take that stance where, you can't say nothing bad about Cam Hayward. You can't say nothing bad about TJ Watt. They're just fan favorites. And, you're going to have that no matter who's here. You're going to have that anywhere you go.
And it's always the people who have never won anything that you can't criticize.
You're right.
It's like once you start winning championships, you're fair game.
Right.
And I think the only one in town who's won a championship that was not able to be criticized in my lifetime was Hines Ward. He won the 2 Super Bowls, the MVP. He was the only one, like, people, like, if you would criticize, he was like the only champion that was beyond reproach. You could never criticize Hines.
Right.
Just because he was that fun-loving guy. But everyone else, doesn't matter who you are, if you won, you had the most criticism.
Now, let's move past Kenny. Let's move past the first pick. Let's move to the number 2. What do you think of George Pickens out of Georgia?
George Pickens. He I'll pull up his stats here. He had that monster freshman year. Junior production dropped a little bit, but he went from 8 touchdowns to 6, not a big drop. And then last year he tore his ACL. He only played in 4 games, limited time, but he had that big 53-yard touchdown against was it Alabama in the championship game?
Oh, great play.
Yeah. And dude, he's like that Steeler receiver that everyone wants. He's that dude who is just will fight for every catch, not the fastest guy, but will, like I said, make those combat catches, and he will just destroy people in the running game. So hopefully that will carry over because we need that, because Chase Claypool in college, he was this beast that would just destroy people in the run game. Then he gets into the pros, and now he's afraid to block.
You're right. You're right. Claypool needs to step his ass up. There's no two ways about that. That kid has all the potential in the world.
Uh-huh.
He's going to, his biggest competition is within between his ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy got to get his head straight and decide he wants to have a dominant type performance in the NFL any given season because he has it. He has, you know what I mean? The guy is a playmaker. It comes down to him. Yep.
Like my biggest thing is with him, like on passes he should jump for, he's falling down instead of jumping for the ball. It's like, dude, you're like 6'4", 6'6" in that range. You should be jumping over people, not falling down.
The guy has athletic talent like I've never seen.
Yeah. Like they called him Mapletron for a reason because he's, built like Megatron was. Calvin Johnson, he has all the tools in the world. Hopefully he gets it together. Because if they have Gillante Johnson, hopefully he can catch passes. I'm tired of like 7 games left in the season. He just decides to drop everything in key situations. So you would have Johnson, Claypool, Pickens. And then you have Freiermuth at tight end, Najee out of the backfield. They have a lot of weapons. They just all need to produce at the same time and consistently. I think that's the biggest problem is their consistency week in, week out.
Absolutely.
Because one week, like they all have stretches where they dominate, Johnson and Claypool, and then they have stretches where they disappear. You can't have that anymore. They've been in the league. They've been in the league long enough now to where they need to just consistently play.
You know who I wish we wouldn't have got rid of last year? I wish we would have kept Melvin Ingram. I mean, the guy's really effective when he's out on the field. You know what I mean? I can understand, building what we have going on as far as the team, what we have as far as positions. But when it comes down to crunch time, Melvin Ingram, he's all over the field. The guy is sideline to sideline. And there's not many plays that he's not involved in when he's on the field.
So I would rather, Highsmith for me was coming along at the end of the year to where he's going to be, it was just better to get rid of Ingram and him not wanting to be there and him causing that locker room problem. So I'd just rather get rid of a player like that who, all right, you don't want to be here after, you signed with the team. They told you what you're going to be. You're going to be a rotational player. You're going to be a backup. And then all of a sudden that's not good enough for you. Get the F out of here, get a draft pick for you. And I think our draft pick turned into one of the guys, I think maybe a backup deal or a wide receiver or a lineman. Yeah. So we got a player out of them that's looking like they might be pretty good.
Yeah. I always say the big three, the first three picks are the guys that, they're more than likely going to be on this team when it's all said and done. And Kenny Pickett being one, the quarterback from Pitt, George Pickens, the wide receiver from Georgia, and then finally DeMarvin Leal, the defensive lineman from Texas A&M. What do you think about him?
What I saw, I didn't know a whole lot about him because when you heard like defensive lineman, it was the two dudes from Georgia. That's all you heard. And on the NFL Network, a couple guys had this guy rated number 2 behind Jordan Davis, and we get him in the 3rd round. Yes. I'll take that. They say he's like a little undersized. But, how can you be undersized like you're 6'4", 290 is undersized. I just love the way the game's going. So, if he can play on the outside, back up, to it, or Cam Hayward be that number 2 guy behind them and eventually work himself into to be that starting role, it's a great pick. And the coaches were saying they think that he can still add weight and won't lose any speed or anything, and he'll just get stronger, and you can move him inside if you need him. So that would be a pretty good pick. And to backtrack here a second, the Melvin Ingram trade allowed us to get a 6th round pick, which we'll talk about here in a second. Who that person is from a award-winning family of multiple.
Another Big Ten guy. We'll just say that. Another Big Ten guy. So we have the, I have, like I said, I have that final 3, those 3 that always tend to get the job.
Yeah.
So 4 through 7. So we have Calvin Austin the 3rd, a wide receiver out of Memphis. I think depending on what he does in the preseason, he has a good shot to make the team just because of the state of our receiving core.
Real quick, I was just watching some videos analyzing him on the NFL Network, and they're like, dude is so quick and fast, but he's also strong for how little he is. Right? He's only he's 5'9", 162, and they were showing videos of him going up against cornerbacks that were towering over him, and he's just wrestling the ball away from them. So he's not just that quick little guy. He's a strong, little fast guy too. So that's going to be interesting to see what he does.
All right. So then we move on to the next pick, our 6th round pick, like you had mentioned, the halfback tight end from Michigan State, Connor Hayward. Now, give me your unbiased opinion.
If his last name wasn't Hayward, I don't think he's getting drafted by the Steelers. He had that great game in the bowl game against Pitt. I'll give him that. That was like a hell of a game that he had. But I just don't think if his last name isn't Hayward, he's not getting drafted by the Steelers. That's just what I don't know a whole lot about him, so it could just be my bias against him. But I don't know. I just don't think if his name was Connor Smith, he undrafted free agent, because we already have a fullback. We already have 2. We have Freiermuth and oh my God, I forget his the second tight end's name. Give me 1 second here. Zach Gentry, who played well last year, and we have two guys behind him. So I don't know. I don't know. Unless he's going to be a special teamer. And if not, if he contributes on special team, that's a good pick. Because at 6th round, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be a special teamer. So.
All right, then we go to that linebacker that we spoke about earlier, and that's the first pick in the 7th round, or first of two picks in the 7th round. Mark Robinson. Now he's a linebacker out of Ole Miss.
So the NFL Network, you know how like NFL Network and ESPN, they always have those draft profiles of every player.
Yes.
Video packages ready for some dude from like some 3rd-tier college you never heard of. They had nothing on this guy. Nothing. So from what I can tell is he converted from running back to linebacker, only played 1 year. Yeah, only played the 1 year at Ole Miss, but he had 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 13 games. He had 91 total tackles. So it's that typical Steeler pick of we're going to get that raw. Turns into something if he makes the team.
At this point in the game, when you're hitting that 7th round,
6th, 7th,
it's a crapshoot anyway, because you know what I mean? What's really left in the pack?
Yeah.
You have 31 other teams who are looking at these guys the same way that you are, thinking, can I make something out of this guy? Can I, does he have a chance? Does he have potential? And when you get to this, the 7th round, especially, that's what you have. You have a bunch of guys like that. So I personally, just like everybody else in the world, I have no clue about this Mark Robinson.
Yeah, me either.
But we're going to see him in August, and we'll get to take a look at him along with the other linebackers and see what his potential really is.
And there's a ton of linebackers. I don't know if he's going to be trying to make him that undersized edge rusher, kind of like how James Harrison was coming on the outside, or if they're going to stick him in the middle as that hybrid linebacker safety type. Because if he came from a running back and he had some speed, he can do kind of like that, how they're doing with Allen Robinson, who they moved from safety into a middle linebacker. Because the league's going more into that. You don't have that big thumping run stopping middle linebacker anymore. You more or less have 2 speed guys, and hopefully one of them can be the harder hitter. So we'll see. Like you said, 7th round pick. What are you hoping for? You're hoping for, get something out of him on special teams for a year or two and see if he turns into something. So you never know.
So that takes me to the other 7th round pick. We picked out of South Dakota State a quarterback named Chris Oladokin.
You fucking pronounce that thing perfectly too, because I looked it up how to pronounce it.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I believe so, yeah.
Do you know anything about this guy? And what is your take on them picking this quarterback in the 7th round?
You see this a lot in years past. Teams would draft a quarterback in the 1st round, then take another one like later in the draft. I don't know why. Thinking if one pans out and the other one doesn't, you have a backup. I don't know. I think Steelers usually go into the camp with a lot of quarterbacks anyway. Like usually like 4 to 5 sometimes to weed themselves out. So I have a feeling someone's getting moved. I have a feeling Mason Rudolph is going to be either traded or cut by the end of training camp.
Well, here's the thing. Rudolph, he deserves to be traded or cut, not in a bad way, but,
just to give him a chance.
Here's the thing. What he is and the work that he's going to require, it isn't what the Steelers are looking for or what the Steelers need, because we are an accomplished franchise who, and it's not right, but the fans expect us to be in the Super Bowl every year. Mm-hmm. And going with Mason Rudolph, I think, is the total opposite direction of what the Steelers like to do. So you're right. Unfortunately for him, I think that he is the odd man out. But fortunately for him, I think he's going to be able to possibly go find a team where he's going to be able to play some football with his, with his career.
I wouldn't be surprised, if they can get a 7th round pick for him, take it. It's about all you can do. Hope for like anywhere like that 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. So I don't know. This kid right here, he'll probably, if they can stash him we'll probably like put him on the practice squad.
You're right.
Because I once you get down to like anyone after like the 4th round, I really don't know anyone unless they were like a named player coming out of college that fell that far.
You're right.
But
And also,
apparently he has a strong arm. So, that's good. That's always nice to have. Zip it in
yeah, it's a
there.
plus. It's a plus when you're a quarterback.
Yeah, you don't want that weak arm.
No. And also, Mike, we had 10 undrafted rookies. Yep. Now, I mean, obviously, a lot of these guys, they would fall in the category of guys that you could possibly find in the later rounds just because they didn't make the cut on draft day. But you always got to watch for the diamond in the rough with this crew, because not everybody could get drafted. There's only so many teams, there's only so many picks.
Willie Parker's
a perfect example.
Willie Parker, I think James Harrison was as well, an undrafted.
Yeah.
So, Kurt Warner, you always find players that just fall through the cracks, like you said.
Yeah. And, I mean, we have quite a few linemen here. We got a couple defensive linemen, a couple linebackers. For me personally, I do recognize one of the guys, and he's from a neighboring town, Donovan Jeter, the defensive lineman for Michigan. He went to high school right down over the hill here in Beaver Falls, and he graduated there and then ended up going to Michigan and was on that tough defensive line that Michigan was bringing the past couple years. I do recognize him. I'm pulling for him just because he is here. I would love to see him in the black and gold moving forward. If he doesn't, it's fine. Hopefully he can get on a team somewhere. But he's the one that I recognize from this group. As far as everybody else, I mean, like we said, they're if they're going to be a diamond in the rough, that's what they're going to be, because you don't really know too much about these guys. I'm going to go a little different here, Mike. Did you see the free agent that we signed yesterday, the safety out of Dallas?
Yes.
Damontae Kazee. Now, this guy, 4 years in the league, he was playing with Atlanta for 3 years out the cut, had a pretty good career going on, went to Dallas for 1 year. So I'm watching the highlights last night, getting preparation for the show. And one thing that I noticed was this guy's a ball hawk. He has a nose for the ball. And what I think that they're doing is they didn't get their guy with the honey badger.
Yeah.
So you have Terrell Edmonds, who is a pretty good run stopper from the safety position.
Yeah.
They bring in this ball hawk in to switch that up a little bit, because you're not going to get it with one player like they wanted from the honey badger. So now I think they're going to do it by committee. I think you're going to have Edmonds playing most of the snaps just because he's really familiar with this defense in the scheme. However, I think you're going to see them switching around and using Kazee, using him on extra defensive back situations.
Yeah.
Different things like that. Get him on the field, because this guy has a nose for the ball. And if you watch his highlights, he always finds his way to that ball. If it's popping out of guys' hands, if it's this guy is always on the ball. I think we're going to like him.
So, and I'm just looking at the depth chart right now. You have Edmonds and Fitzpatrick, and you got Kazee, Carl Joseph, Trey Norwood, who came out of nowhere as a 7th round pick last year, Miles Killebrew. It's not like I'm comfortable with that safety position. Like there's a good depth there.
Yeah, right.
I like it. And Kazee made plays last year. Killebrew was making plays last year. He made a lot on special teams. Norwood, he was just making plays as a 7th round pick. Carl Joseph, I think he was a former 1st round pick for the Bengals, so he has pedigree. So it's not bad. The only spot I'm worried about is cornerback. I'm looking right now. You have Justin Lane, Levi Wallace, Cam Sutton, Kilo Witherspoon, James Pierre, then a couple of jobbers. Let's just be honest.
I personally would like to see them bring Hayden back. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's in the books anymore. But
if they can bring him back, that will shore up that position. I'll be a lot more comfortable.
That would make our secondary one of the top secondaries in the league, in my opinion.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd go they would be put them in the top half.
Because you figure, with Hayden, what's the other guy, the other corner from Buffalo?
Levi Wallace.
Make a safety by committee with the 2 guys. That's a pretty damn good secondary.
Yeah. And the way Witherspoon played last year at that tail end when he was playing in, he was like one of the top rated corners week in, week out. So if he can continue to play like that, it'd be more and more comfortable. And then I'd like to see them get another outside linebacker just to help back up. Because right now you have Highsmith and Watt, and then your top backup is Derek Tuska and Gerald Avery,
Exactly.
John Simon, TJ Montley, Tyree Johnson, Deontay Scott. There's not a lot of like name depth,
Right.
So, and then D line, if Tuitt can come back, if Aluwalu comes back, they have some good players there. Hayward, Aluwalu, Tuitt, Wormley, who had 7 sacks last year, Adams, who they picked up off the Bears practice squad, came out of nowhere. Isaiah Loudermilk, a 6th-round pick last year, who played solid. Then you have like Henry Mondu, who's made plays here and there. Carlos Davis, who's been around in the system for a while. So they got good depth on the D line.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just like a corner and outside linebacker depth. And then everyone knows about the struggles of the offensive line. So hopefully the guys that they brought in will do well. But I don't know. Okorafor right tackle. If he could cut down on the holding penalties, they'll be pretty good.
Yeah, that usually helps.
He only gave up like a couple sacks, but people are like, only gave up a handful of sacks. Like, yeah, but he had like 10 holding penalties throughout the year that killed us.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he'll make that jump from year 4 to year 5.
Yeah. If he's going to do it, he's got to come along. You got to come along at some point.
Yeah.
Mike, we have a show on the 14th of May. Okay. And this is called the Great Vibes and Road Life Tour. And Hit 'em Hard is going to be performing there that night. Now, this again is Saturday, May 14th. It's going to be from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Ooh. And it's at Carius Pub at 2341 Chaplin Street, Wheeling, West Virginia, 26003. Put that in your GPS. So that is on the 14th, Mike. Also, everybody, you don't want to forget on the 29th this month, the 29th, I'm sorry, the 29th of May. It's the Memorial Day jump off. Now, this is going to be down at Frank's Grill at 1111 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, 15010. Make sure you get down there. This is going to be from 9 to 1, $10 at the door, tight security. And this is going to be a lot of the rappers and acts we've had come through here, and a lot of the guys that we've met over time. Yep. And we visited the last time we went down to the big show. But there's a very, very interesting part about this show.
Yes.
The two Dum Yinzers, us, these beautiful faces are going to be hosting this show. This is the Memorial Day jump off, May 29th, 9 o'clock p.m. to 1 a.m., 10 o'clock. Get down there because
we will be hosting. This is going to be great. The worst acts are going to be on stage all the time. And that's us.
That's us.
But no, it's going to be fun. It's exciting, when you told me that Antoine reached out, I was a little taken aback.
Yeah.
I was shocked. But also, in a good way that they thought of us to come out and, do that for them. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have the burden of trying to figure out how the hell we're going to entertain people.
Right.
Because we're used to being on this side of the microphone or this side of the camera. Yeah. So now we're going to go and it's going to be a whole new experience. But you know what? I think it's going to go awesome.
It's going to be great.
We're going to knock it out of the park.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be, if we're the worst part of the show, I want us to be the worst part of the show.
Right.
Because that way everyone else, will be that much better.
Right.
Why is my dummy every time put my dummy away?
What are you talking about?
Put my dummy away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The show has gone off the rails. Good. He's a little drool right there. Just wipe him up.
Also, one other thing, Mike, on the promotions, we have big stuff going on as far as the Bigfoot movie. Now, we all know the Bigfoot movie, the sequel is coming out on May 10th. That's only 9 days from now. So
8 days.
Between how many days?
8.
Holy shit, today's already the 2nd. So we have a little over a week. Next week we get the 10th. So what's going to happen in between now and then is they're going to have premiere shows at drive-in theaters, movie theaters, sneak preview shows. Now you could go and you could hang out with the guys from the movie, which include the Pittsburgh Dad. And, you go down there, meet and greet, watch these movies. Great time. Get out there, see them. And you're going to want to get on to Bigfoot.com, BigfootTheMovie.com to get tickets for a lot of these events. Now, I know that you don't need to buy tickets in advance for the drive-in. However, the regular shows where you're going into a facility, you do need to get tickets in advance. So you're going to want to get on Bigfoot the Sequel, BigfootTheMovie.com. Fuck. So then also, Mike, a couple more things. And then you're also going to want to revisit that site as well, because they do have an amazing merchandise section. Get in there, buy some stuff. You could buy the first movie. And like I said, you could also pre-order your Bigfoot, the movie, the sequel. So check that out. Mike, one other thing before I go into my draft take of this whole thing. So this week, what we're going to do, we are dipping our toes in the water, and we are going to have these 5 shows at the same time we've been running our shows. Late Monday night, late Tuesday night, in addition, late Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. However, I think next week, once we go live, everybody, we still have to talk about this and iron this out, but I think that we are going to be 11 o'clock a.m. Monday through Friday live.
Yep.
Moving forward. So about this. And, and we're going to give you more information as we know it on Facebook, on the shows, whatever. So keep your eyes open, because we will have all that information moving forward. Michael.
Yes.
My take on the draft.
All right. Well, let's hear it.
This was a feel-good draft. In my opinion, sometimes teams have these. And what I mean by a feel-good draft, you have this quarterback out of Pitt. He kind of became this fan favorite. He overachieved his seventh senior year at Pitt, and people really took to him and they liked him, and he did all these great things his final year. And they thought, wow, he could really be a guy like Ben Roethlisberger for this city. He's a guy that everybody could really latch onto and really love as a football player. So I think that's what happened with Kenny Pickett. Ultimately, that's not everything, but I think that plays a big part of it. And to kind of go into my narrative, what I'm saying is this is a feel-good draft. Also, Mike touched on a point earlier about Cam Hayward's little brother. Now we have not one, not two, we have four sets of brothers on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. What's more feel-good than that? If you're a fair weather football fan, if you're not really, you don't really know the game, you don't know the stats, you don't know things like that, these are feel-good stories. People love to see. Let's get a sideline shot of Cam Hayward and his little brother Connor talking about a play in between the plays. So I think the way I take it, the way I label this year's draft, I labeled a feel-good draft. You have these every once in a while. I don't mind it. Your points are valid about the quarterback situation. I don't know what to make of Kenny Pickett. I'm optimistic, but I'm a Pitt guy.
Yeah.
So you're going to kind of have to prove me. He's going to have to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm on board now. These other guys, I like the George Pickens. I think he's going to be a nice pickup. I think that our receiving core needed somebody like him.
Yeah.
Somebody to add just another page to the wide receiver book that we have. And then also the Calvin Austin out of Memphis. Like you said, this guy's fast, and there's a lot of good things on him as far as stats and highlights. So getting a couple of these receivers in here, I think that's really going to help this team moving forward, because this is an area that, in my opinion, is one of our weak links. And I stated this a couple of weeks ago. I'd stated my Achilles heel, is the quarterback and receiver position.
Yeah.
Being that like I said, I'm a Pitt guy, I'm a Kenny Pickett guy. I now feel that the Achilles heel is the receiver position, but I think that could be solved really quick. I think the way that this team could resolve their receiver issues, is these guys just got to get up here. They got to, with Chase Claypool, his biggest competitors between his ears.
Yeah.
And if this kid can keep his head in the game and perform and want to be one of the better players in the league, he can certainly do it.
Oh, yeah.
Gillante Johnson, I'm still waiting. I mean, somehow he snuck 1,000 yards in last season. I must have been in the kitchen or, going to the bathroom or something, because I missed it. But if, he comes forth and has another 1,000-yard season, Chase Claypool could, get the fog out of his head. And then one of these other guys step it up. Plus, one of these other guys that we picked up through free agency, the
Yep.
guy from New England, the guy from
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Yep.
We could have a decent receiving
Yeah.
core. They just they have to want to do it as a team. These 5 receivers that we have, they're going to want to
Have to take over games.
to want to achieve as a team. And if they do, if they don't, that's going to be as far as this team goes, in my opinion. Everything else as far as the picks, I mean, you weren't off. I agree with pretty much everything that you said. Again, I liked Donovan Jeter out of the free agent undrafted people because I mean, there's a lot of local ties with that. So again, it'll kind of fall under the feel good, the feel good.
Yeah, the feel good
So,
vibe. Yeah.
So I'm a big fan there. I think the DeMonte Casey pickup was huge. I seen that last night. And I'm sitting there thinking, he has a nose, man. Check out some of his highlights later. I mean, you probably already have. His numbers are pretty good, with the exception of, I think like you said, one season he had an injury he was fighting when he was in Atlanta. Was that the guy or was that somebody else?
No, it was someone else. My bad. Yeah. But no,
Okay.
he has like good starting experience too. So it's not like he was a career backup. The guy started in the league. He was successful in the league.
And like I said, go watch his highlights. You're gonna be a bit surprised. This guy's a baller, man. He put me in mind of one of them guys that Baltimore would always have back there in the secondary that just kind of always found their way to be at the right place.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get that from him, and he's gonna produce turnovers, which Terrell Edmonds doesn't. However, his style of safety is different. He's a good run stopper.
Yeah.
So,
and him and Minka have that good chemistry too. So I like the re-signing of Edmonds, and then like you said, you're filling in these other players that fill in different niches of the team, and which is what you need. I like that. I like the way they're built the secondary.
Absolutely, man. This and also something that we never really have any success with. Not a lot. I'm going to say not a lot of success. The special teams as far as kickoff and punt return. Now this guy you brought over from New England. If we could just get one of these firecrackers, one of these guys that New England kind of creates in Bill Belichick's basement, and they can come here and do what they do in New England, I think that would be fantastic. Because if this guy could come in and provide that spark every time he touches the ball to maybe gets us, to the 40-yard line, close to midfield, that goes such a long way in the course of a football game and field position and what you're trying to do as a team. I would love to see, because just in general, I think you got to go back to Rod Woodson if you're a Steeler fan to look for that player.
We had like AB, Santonio Holmes, but those were like, they only did it for like a year or two until they became starters.
Right.
Yeah, I would say like Antoine Randall was like the last one.
Because he was a guy. We had a guy. He was probably about 9 years ago. Even I think he wore number 42. His name was Stefan Logan. You remember this guy?
Oh yeah. I forget.
This guy was a hell of a returner. I think in preseason he had 2 or 3 kick returns for a touchdown. I think he even had a punt return for a touchdown. I thought this guy is going to be the real deal. And then he disappeared into nowhere. I've never seen the guy. You know what? I seen he went to Detroit briefly.
Yeah, he went to. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
For whatever reason, but yeah, he was there, and then I haven't seen him since.
Yeah, that was that was a long time ago. But yeah, so hopefully, like Gunner and Calvin Austin can provide that 1-2 punch in the return game.
Absolutely, we just need that. You know what I mean? Especially if we're trying to be a team that's a competitor moving forward and want to get back into the playoffs and want to actually win some games. What a big boost having a guy like that would be. Like I said, provide that spark. Come out of the second half when you're down 10 points and return a kick down to the opponent's 19-yard line.
Oh yeah.
That's such a game changer. And in the NFL, everybody's so damn good. One play like that goes such a long way in the course of the game.
Yeah. And like we've seen that against the Steelers, like a team will come out and have like a good kick return to start the second half or a long pass to start the second half. And then next thing you know, that team's rolling. The Steelers are reeling, and that's what we need. We need to flip the script there. We need those big returns.
You think? Let me ask you this: do you think Najee Harris, now that we have this this rebuilt line that we kind of worked on in the off season, is he going to pass 1,200 yards?
Yeah. Yep. He's going to do it. Just one, just that the way the line's been rebuilt, and two, just the amount of carries I think he's going to have to get this year, just like last year. He'll have 1,200 easily.
What do you think happens first? He gets 1,200 yards, or he gets injured because they're running him too much?
Knock on wood, he better not get hurt. If he does, it's on you.
If he gets hurt, we're down to, the bare
Benny
minimum.
Snell. Yeah, that's one thing that annoyed me with the draft. We didn't get any backup running back health. Hell, we still have Benny Snell, McFarland, Trey Edmonds.
Yeah.
Like, that's blah.
In your favor, who the guy we're getting your Christmas list ready for, Connor Hayward.
Yep.
I already got you. I got your Connor Hayward shirt ordered already for Christmas.
It will go right into the dumpster next to the Cam Hayward one. maybe one day they'll win a championship.
Also, Mike, did you see? Now I'm going to change directions real quick. We're going to come back and talk about football. Okay, let me go here first. I watched a little bit of this fan league the other day. Did you catch any of the fan league yet?
No.
Now this is the league where the fans call the plays.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting, and you know what? It's not bad either. It can certainly improve in the sense that you're not really in the know of what's going on as far as plays are being called. It seems like everybody has a helmet on that has a microphone in it, or not a microphone, but headset. Because you're watching a game and you're basically just watching 11 guys stand around looking at each other for, it seems like, forever.
Yeah.
And then they run a play, and then next thing you know, you're sitting there watching all these guys standing around looking at each other, and they're listening. You can see them all listening.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that they take out and they don't include as far as this whole thing goes, that's what it's missing.
Yeah.
You need to get maybe something on where we could see the plays that the fans are calling. And I'm not sure exactly the process to do what these fans are doing. I'd like to try it. I think it's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be anything that rivals the NFL anytime.
No.
But I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're sitting there a lot of times just watching these guys just look around. So I mean, if they make a few changes and change some stuff around, it could be okay.
Kind of have like.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, kind of have like how Madden has like your 3 plays to choose from.
Yes.
Yeah, have like that. Boom, vote on these ones right here, and then go.
I think that would be very interesting if they would do it like that. Now, this is the one thing that I was going to just kind of move away from football for a second. Did you see, Mike? Did you see the movie coming out? It's a Karen movie. It's called Karen.
No.
And it is exactly what it is. This woman, she this family moves into the neighborhood, and she starts kind of pestering them, and then it kind of turns into harassment, and it almost like a thriller or drama kind of thing. And by the end of the trailer, you're like, yeah, I want to see this.
Fucking Karens, fuck them. Yeah, but does she have like the Karen haircut? Like it's parted over here and goes all the way over to here?
She does. It's black though. Like a lot of times, like when I
a lot of the Karens it's the white, the blonde haired
like
Karens.
Blondish, whitish, yeah. No, but she's an attractive woman. Like I said, as you're watching the trailer, she's kind of giving these people the shit, stuff like that. And by the end of the movie, like I said, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but if you get a chance, check out the trailer. I think it's gonna be really good, especially with what Karen is now in our culture.
Yep, it's permeated the zeitgeist of the culture. Everyone knows what Karen is. You say Karen, people automatically know she's a bitch.
You're right. Do you think that Karens know that they're Karens? You know what I mean? Even
no. They think they're right. I've dealt with plenty of Karens working with the general public.
Right.
You just look at them, you're like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. And they just go out. It seems like they just go out looking for problems. You know what I mean?
Because they have nothing better to do. So that's gonna they're like, my life sucks. I'm gonna ruin someone else's day.
And do you think the name Karen starts to
dissipate
moving forward?
Excuse me. Oh yeah, you're gonna see a lot of like on the names list, Karen's just dropping.
Yeah. Nobody's going to want to name their kid Karen.
No, like Karen and Adolf are going to be two names you don't hear a lot of anymore.
Right. So that was the other thing that I had that was non-football related.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw them a couple things out there. Listen, everybody, we brand new stuff. Obviously, you can tell we're not on a podcast. You can see us. So we are on a brand new format here. Same format, different idea moving forward. We have 5 days a week. This week it's going to be 11 o'clock at night, give or take, on these 5 recorded Zoom episodes. And then next week, we're going to be doing five live shows, one every day, 11 o'clock a.m., an hour live show. You're not going to want to miss. We got a lot of good stuff. We have a lot of good stuff for you, everybody. Mike.
Yes.
So tell me now. Tell me how you really feel about the draft. I give this draft a light, soft A.
C plus. C plus. You have a quarterback who had one good year, wide receiver coming back after an ACL injury. You have a defensive lineman who's a tweener, and they're talking about, maybe we can bulk them up, move them inside, bulk them up, move them outside. So, okay, that's 3 players who are supposed to start and have question marks. Got a little wide receiver as your 4th pick, and you already signed a guy in free agency who kind of fills that role. Then you have a linebacker that no one has a draft profile on. You got a fullback who was drafted because of his brother's last name. And then you have a project quarterback in the 7th round. You didn't fill any of your holes really on the offensive line. You only addressed 2 picks on the defensive side, which you see that defense get tore up last year. C plus. If they pan out, if your top 3 pan out, it will go to an A. But, we won't know until 4 years down the line how good this draft class was.
Now, where do you put this? The top 3 from this draft: Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, DeMarvin Leal. Where do you put him? Where do you put them next to last year's Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, and Kendrick
Green?
Kendrick Green.
Fuck. Shit, my neck. I was all stressed out from this draft class. It's hurt my neck, all tense. No, I would go last year's draft class. Even with Kendrick Green having an up and down year. You faded me off?
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, I'm cooling down. I'm cooling down now. Yeah. I'm good. Thank you. I needed that fan. I needed that blow. But no, I like last year's top 3 for better.
Yeah, I think ultimately I do too.
You got the best running back. You got the number 2 tight end last year, who was right there neck and neck competing stat wise with the number 1 tight end. The center, he was up and down, and if they would move him to guard, he might be better. But we'll wait and see. But right now, I'm liking last year's draft. Of course, last year's draft, I liked it already just because I knew who Najee was. I knew who Pat Freiermuth were. I watched those guys perform week in and week out. 1, because I'm a Penn State fan, and 2, you just can't turn a game on Saturdays without Alabama playing. So you've seen these guys play for 3-4 years. With these guys that we drafted this year, it's like who are these guys? They've had 1 good year, maybe 2 good years out of their whole college career. So where are they? Are they actually the good years, or are they really the down years? So it's hard to tell.
So that kind of brings me to another question I had. So in the list of the undrafted rookies that we brought in, now the guard Chris Owens from Alabama. Now this guy, let me ask you a question. What is your take? Because you have this guy who didn't get drafted. He fell into the undrafted. He got signed. We kind of talked about these guys, in this class of players, but still, he was a guy who got drafted, who got the Alabama wanted this guy. Alabama scouted him and said, we want this guy to be one of our linemen. He was on the line when this team was in championship games. What do you think about somebody like him?
Like, that it makes you wonder if someone like, why did they fall? If you're coming from that, like a football
Right.
powerhouse like that, why is your talent level just, top tier in college, into where your weaknesses aren't as exposed in college as they are in the pros? So is it, your weaknesses could be hidden in college. Now, if you come to the pros, your strengths aren't able to compensate for your weaknesses. So
Right.
it's something like that. Cause it's, you know, I, it- I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the practice squad. Someone like that with that type of pedigree, I can see him. He won't make the 52 man roster, 53, whatever it is now, but I can see him making the practice squad.
And here's the thing: these guys, they've already fell through all the cracks. They didn't get
Hmm.
drafted. They went through 7 rounds. They're still out there with no team. So you got to say to yourself, even these people that are making these late picks, like we were talking about, basically the picks of the guys that aren't going to be on the team, come the end of August, he fell past that group of people. So
Yeah,
that's the kind of things that make you wonder. But again, my question being, he was obviously good enough to get picked up, by Alabama and have a career there and join
but there's
the NFL draft. So, I mean, I guess we're just going to have to wait to see on guys like that, right?
yeah, but like, Alabama produces how many people? They have 80 guys on scholarship every year. So
Right.
obviously, I think a lot of people just have Alabama is their peak talent level, and then after that, you've already peaked. You can't improve anymore.
Right.
Where yeah, some of these guys from smaller schools, you see their talent grow year in, year out, and then oh, hey, this is someone who fell through the cracks, and they could have a better pro career. So
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. Like undrafted guys, there'll be one or two fan favorites, and that people will be saying should be starting over, a veteran. It
You're right.
happens.
Of
It
course.
happens every year.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I tell you what, after the draft comes and goes, now you're just sitting there thinking, come on, let's get to July. Let's get these guys in camp. Let's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Let's get the ball rolling. But we have to go through May and June now.
Hmm.
So
Now it's just the countdown for the new Madden to come out, just to see what the
yeah.
ratings are, and for me to stupidly spend another $70 on a fucking roster update.
Well, that we got hockey and baseball to hold us over.
So we have the Pirates who suck, and then the Penguins who are probably going to get bounced in the first round again, playing the Rangers who have destroyed them all year.
I know. I
I'm
know.
sorry, I'm not trying to be a downer. It's just it is what it
No.
is.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about you. We're gonna have to consider this Ohio resident thing you have going on.
Hey! I was born in McKeesport. My PA credentials are solid. I got the
Oh,
I got the birth certificate.
yeah. I'm excited, man, and you're not wrong. The Pirates are going to be what the Pirates are going to be, and
Hmm.
and
Hopefully, the Penguins can make it out of the first round this year.
yeah, right.
You know,
Who do they got in the first round? The Rangers.
Rangers, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. But right now, I'm thinking it's gonna be 4-2 Rangers.
Yeah,
Their goalie
I,
has just
I
been he's just been lights out all year. It's gonna be hard to top him.
really.
Yeah, he's just been that good.
Oh, hold on.
Oh god.
Lost my water bottle here. All right.
All right, so that's actually going to be cut because we can't put that on YouTube.
All right. So with that being said, the you got but then we also have the Pitt basketball season. Pitt is coming a long way.
Yeah, Pitt basketball. I'd go rather watch some dudes at the Y play it up.
Yes. Real quick before we get ready to bounce, what about the moving forward? Now I know that you're a Penn State guy, but I'm a Pitt guy. Pitt Panthers in the off-season poll right now are sitting at number nine in the NCAA college football. What's Pitt going to do this year?
Is the wide receiver transferring to USC or not?
You know what? That's a very good question. I think that he's going to ultimately, but I don't know yet.
Yeah, so if he's gone, if he transfers, they're going to plummet down the polls.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't start paying attention till like a week before kickoff in
You're
college
right.
football.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Penn State, they'll play so well, and then last half of the season they just crumble. It's depressing.
I mean, the Big Ten's tough though. I mean, by the
Yeah.
time the second half,
It's not the ACC where there's no one.
right.
You have to
Right.
wait for Clemson to have a good year.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be playing Ohio State. You're always going to be playing Michigan.
Yep.
Michigan State generally has got a good team. So, yeah, for sure. But hey, everybody, we want to thank you. Listen, guys, here we are, brand new format moving forward. Keep tuning in. Keep checking us out on Spotify as far as our episodes without the video. You can still watch. You can still check them out on Spotify. You can check them out on Anchor. And then YouTube is where you'll be watching the videos. Anywhere else, Mike?
Right now those are the platforms that we're on.
Okay. And like I said, that's going to finish through this week. And then next week, we are going to be going live 5 days. Every morning at 11 o'clock. You're going to want to see that. And we will give you updates as we get closer of where you're going to be able to check this out. So on and so forth.
And don't worry, if you can't catch the lives, everything's going to still be uploaded to the same platforms.
Absolutely. And you know what? You can play any of our shows at any time. Get in a car to go to work in the morning, put the show on. You're at lunch with the ladies at work, put the show on. You're at home sitting in the sun in the evening while the kids play in the yard, put the show on. There's going to be lots of great stuff, lots of great material, lots of great interviews, lots of great stuff coming your way. You're not going to want to miss everybody. Keep tuning in. And as for Ryan, for Mike, in our very first Zoom video episode, I want to say thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
And for Ryan and Mike and the two Dum Yinzers, we'll see you tomorrow.